Welcome to rSlash Offmychest, where a guy breaks up with his girlfriend so he can be with his silicone toy. Our next Reddit post is from Consistent Tale. So my younger brother, who's 21, had a beautiful girlfriend who's 21 of 3 years. They were together through all of university and were seriously in love. They planned a whole future together, family, marriage, kids, etc. She was a super sweet, caring, loyal girl, a rare gem today which I constantly reminded him of. So we regularly call on the phone, and after all that time they were still deeply in love, and he then goes to Mexico for a retreat. While in Mexico, he meets a young girl and talks to me about getting with her. Of course I said, don't, but he did. He only kissed her while drunk. And then 2 days later, he called me and said he fingered a 55-year-old and then finished early in his hand on the beach and ran away, leaving her there. I'm of course blown away. Then for the next 6 weeks, he's constantly telling me how he wants to break up with his girlfriend, how he doesn't love her anymore, how he can do better, travel, etc. He started seriously neglecting her, not responding, not caring about her, pulling away. He even stopped being intimate with her and would sneak off in the middle of the night to watch adult content by himself and then sneak back into bed. I kept telling him to get his act together because he's throwing away his entire future with a beautiful girl and the future mother of his children. He, of course, didn't listen and just neglected her further while insisting that she was so obsessed with him that she would never leave. I told him she would, repeatedly, but he stuck by this. He then kept insisting on his mission, which was to dopamine max by getting a special toy for men to use that resembles a flashlight, a bunch of mushrooms, and a Quest 3 VR headset and watch adult content all day to dopamine max. Of course, I tell him for weeks not to do it, but he would actually get aggressive and shut me down if I told him not to, and end the call and not speak to me if I brought up how bad of an idea it was. A week or so goes by, and his mission was ready. He had the new VR and his mushrooms and his new toy that he named Martha. I told him not to, but he did it anyways. So next, he takes the mushrooms, and a couple of hours in, just when he's about to start, his girlfriend calls him. Like an idiot, he answers, and they speak for an hour while she's crying, saying something's off. She gets it out of him where he says he doesn't love her anymore, and maybe they should break up. She then spends the whole night desperately crying alone in a fit of tears, while my brother has his VR toy mission and enjoys himself. The next day, he tells me they spoke, and they didn't officially break up, and he kept reinforcing that she would never leave him no matter what. I told him he's wrong. A few days later, she officially breaks up with him. He then calls me absolutely crying, bawling his eyes out in complete disbelief. I, of course, am absolutely speechless. He goes crazy, desperately calling and texting her, even her mom and sister, begging. It gets so bad to the point that she has to block him. He even suggested sending letters to her house and making her PowerPoint presentations to explain things. He, for weeks, is depressed, crying his eyes out, constantly saying that he has a feeling she's coming back to him, that she would never leave him. It's been 6 weeks, and he's still obsessed, just not crying as much. It's so hard for me because I'm constantly trying to help him get his life together, but it feels impossible to help him when he acts like this. He's completely cooked. This kind of feels like a Black Mirror episode, where the virtual world is so enticing that someone completely nukes their in-real life world. Sounds like the little brother needs therapy or something, or maybe even professional intervention or medication, because this sounds like some kind of psychotic break or something. Our next Reddit post is from Sweet Character. So I live with 4 other roommates in a hostel. One of them, Randy, I considered like my brother. Like literally a brother. I thought he had my back. He knew almost everything about me. I'd been feeling lonely for a while and told him I wanted to talk to a girl. Just talk, make a bond, feel a little cared for. After asking a few times, he gave me an Instagram ID of a girl, Zoe. She said she was a friend of a friend from his coaching. I messaged her and she replied. We talked on and off for about a month. She wasn't too interested, not too cold either, just enough to keep me guessing. That in-between space that messes with your head. I never asked for video calls or voice notes. She posted pics, seemed real, convincing enough. The ID looked real too. Bio, highlights, tagged photos. even random mirror selfies on stories once in a while. Not just random text replies, an actual presence. So I kept giving her the benefit of the doubt. I told myself maybe she's just a little reserved. And the biggest blunder, I kept sharing everything about Zoe with Randy and the rest of my roommates. Screenshots, chats, doubts, overthinking, outfit ideas, feelings, even what gift to give her. I told them everything. Every single detail became their tool. I even asked Randy multiple times if she was real, or if his coaching friend really knew her, and he acted like he was offended. Gave me believable stories. I trusted him like a fool. Then came the day before we were supposed to meet. She said she booked a restaurant seat, asked me to split the payment. I paid. We were supposed to meet the next evening. But that morning, something felt off. I confronted Randy and asked again, "Be honest, are you guys faking this?" And the way he acted, bro, it was like a movie. Shocked face, defensive tone, pretending to call his coaching friend in front of me, said he was confirming it all for my peace of mind. I don't know what performance school he went to, but I believed him again. So I got ready and went with Randy to the saloon. He picked my shirt, gave tips, hyped me up, made me feel special. In the evening, she messaged saying, "Want to see my outfit?" and asked for a video call. Excitedly, I went up to the balcony. I picked the call and boom, it wasn't her. It was one of my roommates, Kyle, on the video, laughing with the others behind him. They had faked the entire thing. Zoe was never real. It was their fake account. Every message, every emotion, all of it was a setup, a prank. I stood there holding a gift that I bought based on their advice, and they were laughing, asking if they could have the gift. In that moment, I felt like a clown, like my heart just died. They didn't just prank me, they murdered someone I believed in. They murdered Zoe. Even after the reveal, they acted like it was just a joke, just fun. No big deal. And Randy, he slept peacefully that night, like nothing happened. Like he hadn't killed a part of me that would never grow back. So, yeah, maybe to the world it was a joke, but for me, they murdered a bond, a trust, a friend I believed in. And now I walk around like a ghost, and they laugh like it's all just normal. OP, you call these people your friends. These are not your friends. This is not the behavior of anyone who even has a little bit of respect for you. Find a new place to live, cut them out of your life, and just move on with your life. That's probably the best thing to do here, OP. Our next Reddit post is from Post Apprehensive. I'm beyond heartbroken and angry. My longtime boyfriend had an accident at home that broke a few bones. When we got to the hospital, he was so out of it that he gave me his phone pin because my phone has died. Normally, he guards that phone like it's the crown jewels. Asian dating, local hookups, finding women overseas, messages kept coming from all these apps and sites. So many adult videos and streaming sites. But what sent me over the edge was the texts and emails and videos with other women. The pics they'd taken on Valentine's Day. The quick vacations where he was supposedly taking care of his family. Declarations of love and lust going back years. Women he told me not to worry about. They're just friends. One lost her parents and was having a hard time. Another wanted help figuring out how to sell her home. You know the excuses. He told me I was ridiculous, paranoid, acting like a controlling witch. But I could feel it. He'd stopped hugging me, touching me, and blamed it on the stress of having to take care of his handicapped mom. All while proclaiming he loved me so much, calling me the same sweet nicknames. The ones he used with the others as well, by the way. He even talked about wanting to get married. He brought that up with one of the others as well, which destroyed me. Now he's in the hospital, and I can just stare at his lying, effing, cheating face in that bed. He may not remember when he wakes up that I told him he's wasted my time and my love, and that I hate him more than anything on this earth, and that this will be the last time he sees me in his life. But the one thing I did do is use his phone to message all the other women that he'd been romancing, texting, and sexting, telling them how sexy they are and how good they make him feel. Oh baby, I'm ready to have a real relationship because you're the only one I want. And I told them what he's done. That he's more than just a piece of trash. He's the whole dumpster. I took pics and sent myself a lot of the evidence before I unfollowed, blocked, and deleted every last trace of myself and us from his phone. I don't want to ever forget how he's treated me, so I won't even think about forgiveness. I lost my best friend. Now I'm sitting and looking out the window, waiting for sunrise and a new day to unfold, and wondering why. Why he sucks so much and makes me feel like I'm not enough. I know I am, but I don't know if I'll ever trust anyone with my heart again. Well, normally the emergency room is for saving people's lives. Sounds like the emergency room saved OP's life today as well. Our next Reddit post is from Safe Brilliant. I'm 35, divorced, and a mom to a little girl who means everything to me. If you'd asked me a few years ago if I could ever see myself doing adult work, I would have laughed and said, not in a million years. A few years ago, I had a steady job, a marriage that I thought was solid, and a pretty normal life. Then it all fell apart. First, my marriage, then the financial security in the mess of post-COVID restructuring. I tried to hold it together, I really did, but it wasn't enough. I was exhausted, stressed, and falling behind. One night I was scrolling and came across a post about paid companionship. It was someone talking openly about how they got into escorting. It didn't sound glamorous, but it didn't sound like the horror stories either. It just sounded doable. I started researching forums and blogs. I lurked for weeks. Then I made a burner email, a fake name and a profile on one of the safe sites that people recommended. I got flooded with messages. Most of them were disgusting. Some were sad. But one stood out. He was older, polite, and didn't push. He just said that he wanted someone to have dinner with, someone to talk to. I didn't respond at first. I wasn't sure if I had the nerve, but eventually I did. We exchanged a few messages, then we met at a restaurant in town. I wore a dress I hadn't touched in years. I was shaking the entire time, but he was kind. He treated me like a human being. No pressure, just dinner and conversation. At the end of the night, he handed me an envelope. I cried in the car for 30 minutes before I could drive home. That money paid our rent that month. And I felt something shift in me, like I'd found a way to keep us above water, even if it wasn't a path I'd imagined walking. Things evolved from there. I set boundaries. Some stayed, some shifted. Eventually, I started taking full-service clients. It is what it is. I'm not ashamed, not really, but I'm still struggling with fully accepting it. It's just hard sometimes, carrying this double life. My family doesn't know. I don't talk to anyone about it. But I needed to say it somewhere, even anonymously. I'm okay, but sometimes the weight of the secret feels like too much to hold by myself. Our next Reddit post is from Goliath. When I was 14, I sat on the edge of my bed with a Bible in my lap and whispered, God, please let him die in his sleep. Please. I didn't cry. I didn't even feel much. I just wanted the noise to stop. He never hit me. That would have been too easy to name. Instead, he walked past me like I didn't exist for 6 years. Not a hello, not a goodbye, not a single direct sentence. He would tell my mom what I was doing wrong in front of me, but never to me. I was furniture that annoyed him, a ghost that took up space, a reminder of a life he didn't choose, and a son he didn't want. I remember standing in the hallway once when he came home from work. He looked through me, like I was made of smoke and shame. He'd slam the cabinet doors if I left a spoon in the sink. He'd take the batteries out of the remote when I touched the TV. He'd roll his eyes when I walked in, then pretend like he hadn't seen me. You learn to hold your breath in rooms like that. You learn to shrink, to vanish in plain sight, to walk softly in your own house like you're trespassing. And I prayed that night that he wouldn't wake up. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I wanted a house that didn't feel like walking on broken glass barefoot. I wanted a mother who didn't look at me like I was the reason he sighed so much. She never said it, but I saw it. Every time she stood next to him like a shadow with a wedding ring. Every time she defended his silence like it was a strategy instead of a sentence. I stopped telling her how I felt, because she stopped listening the moment he walked into her life. Years later, he died. Cancer. I didn't go to the funeral. People called me cold, said, you only get one father figure. I just smiled and said, yeah. But the truth is, I never wanted him dead out of hatred. I wanted him gone because I thought it might save me. The sad part, It didn't. He left the house, but the silence stayed. It lives in my throat. It curls up in my stomach when someone raises their voice in the next room. It whispers to me when I leave dishes in the sink. It taps my shoulder when I laugh too loud. It follows me into relationships, into jobs, into the mirror. Because no one ever hit me, but he made me flinch anyway. And now I still sit in silence sometimes and wonder if God ever heard that prayer. Not to answer, but just to notice me at all. Because sometimes I think being seen is the only real miracle there is. And I still haven't had one. Our next Reddit post is from No Ant. I've been hiding a huge secret from everyone in my family for the past 3 years. I pretended to graduate college. I walked across the stage, wore the cap and gown, had the family celebration, took pictures holding a fake diploma cover. The whole thing. But I never actually finished my degree. One semester before graduation, I just cracked. I was burnt out, failing a couple of classes, and too ashamed to tell anyone. So instead of facing it, I faked it. I told my parents everything was on track. I bought a cheap gown online, faked the graduation date, and made sure the ceremony wasn't open to guests due to limited capacity. Since then, I've been working random jobs, telling people I'm between offers or exploring different fields. It's a constant weight on me. I've had panic attacks just thinking about someone finding out. My parents still proudly mention that I'm the first in my family with a degree. I hate lying to them. I hate lying to everyone. I finally re-enrolled and I'm taking night classes now, slowly fixing the mess I made. But it still feels like I'm living a lie. I don't know if I'll ever have the guts to tell them what really happened. I'm fond of this top advice from Spicy Tea Leaf who says, continue in silence, finish your degree, and take this to the grave. Because honestly, I think most people probably wouldn't care as much as you think. And once it's behind you, it's behind you. Besides, everyone's got secrets, and in the grand scheme of things, this secret isn't that bad. That was r/Offmychest, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit episodes every single day.